wellnesscouch.com, streaming wellness into your lives.
You're listening to A Quirky Journey, the healthy family podcast with your hosts Jo Whitten and Leah Follett. Welcome to A Quirky Journey. Join us as we share our family's journeys to good health. You'll find plenty of inspiration, tips and recipe ideas, as well as stories from everyday people who've struggled and overcome health problems and diet challenges in their own families. I'm Jo Whitten, author of the blog and book Quirky Cooking, and today I'm here with my friend Cathy Benson. Hi Cathy.
Hello Jo.
Cathy has been on a GAPS journey as well for how long now, Cathy?
We started on the 1st of January this year.
Okay, so not long after we started, really. And so we've been chatting about it as we go along, and we are in a couple of GAPS Facebook groups together. And I met Cathy, when was it? Last year, end of last year in Toowoomba,
Yes.
When I went down to do my classes. But we've chatted online for years, haven't we?
That's right. I think it's about 6 years.
Yep.
Because I've had my Thermomix 6 years, so that's how I met you,
Yeah,
in
my blog.
inverted commas.
Yes, we only met properly last year. But
That's right.
I asked Cathy if she'd come on to the show today to share her story, because one of the questions I get asked a lot is how do you help kids to cope with the idea of doing GAPS? If you've got sick kids that need to do GAPS, how do you get them to agree to it? How do you handle it? Because a lot of kids will just freak out. And Cathy's pretty much did.
Yes, very
but
much so.
They have worked through it. So I think it's really awesome what you guys are doing, and I would love for you to share your story. So if you just want to start off with explaining why you felt you needed to do GAPS, that would be great. Sure.
So my husband and I have two little girls. Freya's 10 and Kaylee's 7.5. Freya was diagnosed celiac about 5 years ago, and she has a lot of development problems. So she's in the alternate stream of school, is very, very tiny. So she's 10, but she's about the height of a 6-year-old. And she wasn't absorbing her food properly for the first 5 years of her life, because she was eating wheat, so that was compromising her little system. And I often call Freya my canary in the coal mine, as in, she's very, very sensitive to additives and preservatives and those sorts of things. So she's really taken us on an amazing journey of changing our diet over the last 5 years.
Yep, usually starts with your kids, right?
That's exactly right. That's right. So she's my biggest teacher, because she's the one who's caused us to change lots of things, which is really exciting. So I'd heard about GAPS a lot online and different things, and it always sounded really, really interesting because of the connection between Freya's gut with the celiac, and then her developmental delay and her intellectual impairment, and I felt that there was potentially a connection there. Yeah. So I really liked the idea of giving it a go. So it was something I heard about for a long time, and then when you started doing it, Jo, the end of last year, it sort of finally gave me the courage to look into it more and actually give it a try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been a bit of a journey.
Yes.
Ups and downs.
Yes.
It
has. So
how did you approach it? Like, did you just say, right, we're doing this, or did you spend a lot of time discussing it with your family, or?
So we decided at the end of November, so it was right after I had breakfast with you actually, that we decided to bite the bullet and look into it. So I came home from breakfast, and another friend was wanting to start GAPS as well, so we had really good support there. Ordered the book so early December, and then started talking straight away to the girls about what we wanted to do and the changes we wanted to make. So both the girls and my husband are very used to me changing how we eat over the years. We're always doing something new. So they're very new to that concept. But, yeah, over December, we'd started talking about making some changes and how we were going to cut some things out. And so we talked about it for a good few weeks.
Yeah.
And as we ran out of things, we stopped buying them. So, we ran out of rice, so we didn't buy any more. Ran out of pasta, started using zucchini noodles, things like that. So we sort of tried to, do things gradually.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. And so that was very, very helpful. But to be honest, I thought that because we already had a very whole foods-based diet, there's a lot of Facebook pages and people talk about how traumatic it can be. And I actually thought that it wouldn't apply to us because we weren't going from fast food. So I actually thought, considering how good I thought our diet was, I thought we might, skip through pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But, it was a bit of a shock to the system.
So what was it like that first week?
Oh, gosh. Well, luckily it was during school holidays, so we started on the 1st of January.
Yeah.
It was quite a shock. We introduced broths during December, so we started having broths regularly during December, so that wasn't too much of a shock. But
and the girls were happy to drink them, or did you add them to food?
No, we drank them. So Freya's always hated soups and anything really wet, like she's very textural based. So we had, before dinner we'd have a cup of broth every night before dinner to sort of introduce the idea. So when we started in January, I think the first 2 or 3 days it was like everybody was just lying around with no energy. And it's like we didn't have the flu, but it was just that really lethargic state. Yeah,
we had the achy muscles.
Yes,
and just exhausted and no.
Yes. Don't get up and go. Everyone was
get up and go, got up and went.
Yeah, that's right. But the biggest shock was Freya's attitude. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
She's usually really endearing and just very happy-go-lucky, very cheerful, all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But she got so cranky. It was just amazing seeing how cranky she was over something like changing her food.
Yeah. And do you think that was the sugars calling?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I think she had a major detox. She got so almost aggressive and angry for her.
Yeah.
And she actually, because we'd told her that the doctor had, her paediatrician, we'd told her that the paediatrician suggested we do gaps.
Yeah.
And on about day 5, because she was going, I hate gaps, and she was telling me all these things about how much she disliked it. So as a way of helping her to express that, we sat down and wrote a letter together to the doctor. And I actually found it this morning.
Oh,
and she's
read it to us.
This letter. Dear doctor, I don't like gaps because eggs and pancakes are last. I just miss hot chocolate and I'm angry. I'm angry and unhappy because I hate gaps and it doesn't make me feel well. And I'm trying to tell you I want to stop it right now.
Oh, what a darling. That's actually a really good idea, though, getting them to write things down.
Yeah, it was very therapeutic for her because it really helped her to be heard.
Yes.
So by writing that down, it was a real turning point for her because she felt like she'd been able to express herself. She wasn't in trouble for saying that she didn't like it. We heard her, we listened, and that was really, really helpful for her because it was, it was a big deal, and we'd told her that she was going to start feeling better.
And it wasn't straight away, so why wasn't it?
Right.
Don't worry, I had the same thing. Well. It's not working. We might as well stop.
That's right. That's right. And I suppose everybody's different, but because of our goals with Freya, it's really hard to explain to her what we want to achieve because it's not if she had tummy aches all the time, we could easily say to her, we want to help you with your tummy ache.
Yeah, your
But
tummy will feel better.
Yeah, but because for her it's about how her ability to learn, her ability to grow, and those sorts of things that she's not aware of.
They're not
It's
quite
harder
as tangible.
it's harder to explain to someone in that situation what you're trying to achieve without them making them feel like there's something wrong with them.
Yeah. And also because it's slow progress.
Yes.
Because I know with Isaac, he's much shorter than most kids his age, and his little sister, who's 2 years younger, has overtaken him.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's sort of in the same boat. And he's always saying, I wish I could grow, I wish I could grow. And I'm like, just give it time. Your body's healing. You've got to give it time, and it will take off, and you'll have a growth spurt, and you'll notice it then. But at the moment, you just have to wait.
That's right.
When we look back a year, we can see a little bit of a difference, but it's not gigantic.
Yeah. And Kaylee, who's 2.5 years younger, is a whole head taller.
Yep.
So everybody assumes that Freya's younger.
Yeah.
So, it does bother her.
Yeah, of course it does.
So, but yeah, it's harder to see the benefit on those early stages. Yeah, that's right. So I think it was around day 10 when all of a sudden they just started eating. It was just unbelievable. So here we go. January the 4th was the day that Freya wrote her little letter.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it was very, very therapeutic.
Oh.
She thinks I posted it to him.
Oops.
So that's okay. That works.
Yeah. And so when you first started, I think I remember you saying that they were refusing to eat.
Yes,
for a little while
they barely ate anything. And again, I think it was that sugar thing, the getting rid of the sugar. So it was really worrying because they're so, particularly Freya's so little already. For her to not
losing weight, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty scary, and they did lose quite a bit of weight, which both of them did, both Freya and Kaylee, and yeah, they didn't exactly have any extra to losing. Yeah, that's right. So that was a bit of a worry, and particularly for other people watching.
Yes, and doctors and things.
The grandparents and the aunts and family watching what we were doing, they found that quite scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how long did you find it before they started to put it back on again?
I think by the end of January they'd put the weight back on. Okay. So they lost it very, very quickly. But yeah, by the end of the month they'd put it back on. Yeah. And Freya's actually put on quite a bit of weight, which is really good.
Oh, that's good. So so they were refusing to eat most things, or was there certain GAPS foods that they hated? At the start?
Well, the sauerkraut was a big one.
How'd you manage to get that in?
Well, that was what
Have you
Isaac
managed to get that in? Oh, that's right. Isaac helped.
Yeah.
He doesn't really like it that much either.
It's I think one of the things we was really helpful was to have people around us who were having a tribe of people who could support us. So
definitely the support is so important.
Yeah, we had a few people starting GAPS around the similar time.
Yeah,
but Isaac sent us a beautiful little video, which was so great because about halfway through the video, Freya asked me to pause it. She went and got the sauerkraut out of the fridge. She brought it back over to the table where we were sitting, and she ate some.
Wow!
Just in the middle of the video.
That's
it was
amazing.
It was so cool. Because it was really she really connected with Isaac. So I think that's
seeing another child in the same boat probably really helped.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he was basically in the video. I don't know if we can link to it or anything. I can try. But he was talking about how it was hard at the start, but really the food's not that bad when you get into it and you start to really love it. And And once you get to things like pumpkin pancakes, it's just so awesome, which is just pumpkin and eggs. And,
yes, exactly.
and life is great, and I'm feeling better, and I guess that helped.
Yes, yes. And it wasn't just Mummy saying these things.
No.
It was a bit more,
believable.
Actually, that's one of the other things I did was I separated a whole bunch of recipes into different stages.
That's a good idea.
So almost in the folder, so almost every day they'd ask me, Mummy, what stage are we on? And so they'd go to the folder and I'd say stage 1 or stage 2, and they'd look through the recipes for stage 1 and 2 and find something they wanted to try.
Oh, that's good.
And then we'd also be able to look forward, and they'd say, when can we move on to stage 3? And they'd be able to look forward and go, stage 3, we can have pancakes, I think it was. So it gave them
something to look forward to.
Yeah, and they were able to ask for things they knew they could have and have something to look forward to once they were feeling a bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it really helps with getting kids to eat healthier or getting kids to eat a special diet if they can feel like they're having a part in the choices.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Yes, the more they're involved in what's cooking, and I find the more likely they are to try something new.
Yes.
Yes. So,
especially if you can grow some things and get them cooking them, or at least take them to the markets or the grocery store and get them shopping with you and then cooking with you, and or at least meal planning, like you said, with the recipes. Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
But I found mine really got involved with, cooking the pumpkin pancakes. I'd be out and about, and I'd come home and they'd steamed veggies to eat as snacks, and it was very simple food, so kids can make a lot of it themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
So after 10 days, they'd pull through that really bad stage. Mostly.
Yes. And then
which is very encouraging for parents, because they feel like, when would we be able, like, what if we can't cope? If look, give it 2 weeks and you'll be amazed at the differences. You can hang in there for 2 weeks, can't you?
Yes. That's right. And it's something I see in a lot of groups. And then, within 2 weeks you got the people who were saying you've got this rolling cycle.
Yes.
So you got somebody saying, how are we going to do it? My kids aren't eating anything. And then 2 weeks later they're encouraging the new person.
Just hang in there.
Who's the same boat.
Yeah. And it's the same I notice with people doing like any diet where you're cutting way back on sugars.
Yes.
That first week is hard.
Yes.
But you just got to push through it.
That's right. That's right. So, that was really
that's good.
Very exciting. Yes.
So did they react to anything within the time that you were adding in? Because are you on full gaps now?
Yeah, well, sort of.
Yeah, same with us, sort of.
Yeah. I think everybody's a bit of sort of.
Yeah. You're on
so
stage 6-ish.
Yeah, we've all been dairy free, except for Andrew. We've all been dairy free for a couple of years. And we did try that. I think it might have been around March or April, and that didn't.
The yogurt.
The yogurt. It didn't go down very well.
What kind of reactions did they have?
Well, for Kaylee, her dairy was always getting constipation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that started. Yeah, she started
having trouble. So you knew straight away.
Yeah. Sorry.
So you pretty much knew straight away that was not ready for that.
Well, actually, her reaction was completely different. She actually came out in a rash within about 10 minutes, went all red, and her eyes started running, and which is something that never happened before. So, but it was it was pretty significant. And Kaylee, Freya got the green gooey eyes and nose. They came back. So we'll give it a try again sometime
down the track. Yeah. Well, that's what I figure. I didn't do too well with yogurt yet, so.
Yes.
So what are they loving eating now?
Oh, eggs.
Oh, isn't it good having eggs?
Yeah, they love their eggs, and they're cooking. They cook their own breakfast most days, and
And what do they make?
eggs.
In a certain way, or
No,
just whatever way they like?
they love scrambled eggs.
Yeah,
So scrambled eggs and sauerkraut and veggies. They love their broth and
yeah,
cauliflower mash.
that's good.
So, and it's all so simple.
Yeah.
It's actually so much simpler.
It is, and
I
that's
find.
what I found when once you get your head around it, it's like actually this kind of cooking is so basic and simple. I think I just like to do this for the rest of my life. And it
Yes.
still
Well,
tastes really good. Like I
mm,
actually read something in an article online the other day that was really good about helping kids to understand why they need to do gaps and how to get
hmm
them in the right mindset um, and it talked about how we're so confused with food, I guess, in our society. Um, we don't realize that the good stuff is generally very simple ingredients,
mm,
um, cooked slowly so that there's a lot of flavor. And you go to, and they say, like, if you're traveling, where do
hmm
you find that kind of food?
hmm
You find it in the high end restaurants, and it costs you a lot of money because it's how they get a lot of flavor in. It's very
hmm
slow cooked, soft, falling apart beef cheeks, all of that kind of stuff.
Yes.
It's the really good old fashioned way of cooking.
Mm,
And if you go to a fast food place and get cheap food, you won't get it. If you go to a good restaurant, you will.
yes.
So, if you say, well, we're eating like the posh restaurants, kids,
That's right. Yeah.
organic and slow cooked and heaps of flavor and traditional style broths and
Mm,
all sorts of veggies. I found that our range of vegetables increased. At first you've got a small range, but then you start adding in things that you wouldn't usually buy very often because you just want more variety. Have you
hmm
found that? Are your kids eating new vegetables they hadn't really eaten much before?
Not really new vegetables, but certainly the quantity has increased a
Yeah,
lot. Like I didn't realize how much we were relying on things like rice
yeah,
and rice noodles.
yes.
You take the rice noodles out,
Suddenly
um,
you've got to have
and suddenly you've got to increase the vegetables.
by about 5 times. No, it's
Yeah. So we're
amazing
eating
how
a lot
much.
of
Yeah,
vegetables, which is really good.
it is, isn't it? That's what I found
Yes.
I loved. And my one of my kids hated peas. He's always hated peas. He's like the type of kid that would hide them under the cupboard if you weren't looking.
Oh
And
gosh.
yeah, he really did that. He's 16 now. I hope he doesn't still do that. But
Feed them to the dog or
but he
something.
actually loves them now. Well, he eats them anyway because they just get such an appreciation for good food and vegetables and things now.
Yes, yes. Actually, that's something I've noticed. Is we've got some over the last few months. We've had some farmers markets
Yeah.
around, and we go to the farmers markets, and the girls they walk straight past most of the stalls with the you know breads and
Donuts.
muffins and donuts. No, well, even these are farmers market stalls, so
Yeah.
even there's not so much donuts. It's not junk food, but there's still
Hmm.
pies and jams and
Yeah.
things like that. And they walk straight past them. It's like they've got tunnel vision on.
Yeah.
But then there's this one particular local grower, and they spot him, and they just about break into a run
Oh.
and go straight for him. And they stand, and he sells the most amazing heirloom tomatoes,
Oh, lovely.
local heirloom tomatoes and baby cucumbers and things. And they line up with their cucumbers and tomatoes, and they line up and they know who they want to buy from, and they don't want to buy from the employees. They want to buy from him.
Oh, that's so cute.
And it's so amazing. And so they'll sit down amongst all the people at these markets, and that's what they'll snack on, and they'll just think that's morning tea, and they just
Oh,
love it.
that's so good.
It's yeah.
And growing up, we ate like that. When you
Mhm.
picked it out of your garden or you got it from the markets, it was so amazing, the flavor. And
Yes.
we would take it in to school in our lunchbox as a whole tomato that we'd eat like an apple or, a handful of green beans or something like that.
Yes.
So most people though these days have mostly gone away from that, but it's so good.
Mm.
And it just really shows how getting back to real food just retrains your taste buds, doesn't it?
Yes, yes. The things that we appreciate now and the
Yeah.
flavors we appreciate now are very different.
Yeah.
So it's
You, you've
it's really good.
you've got to tell them about I think it's Freya who does the Master
Yes.
Chef cooking.
Oh,
So cute.
yeah. So we love watching MasterChef, and um, Freya loves watching particularly the elimination challenges. So that the
Oh.
hardest recipes they have to do
Oh,
with the blast chillers and the sous vide
wow.
and all the complicated equipment. And then on Saturday morning, she decides she wants to make a GAPS friendly version of whatever they've made on
It's so
MasterChef.
cute.
And it's so cool. And so she gets out the gelatin and the coconut cream, and she makes the crumbles and the dirts with coconut and almonds to get the crumble underneath the dessert.
Oh.
And she replaces the sugar with honey and all these things, and used beetroot. We got beetroot juice to make it a nice pink color, and she replicates all these desserts, and she talks about how she has to plate up.
Yeah. And she does a good job.
Yeah,
I've seen
gets her
photos.
little mise en
Amazing.
place all ready in her little containers so she can plate up, and yeah.
It's very gorgeous. If anyone do you want people joining your GAPS group?
Uh,
Or is that a private
well,
GAPS group?
yeah, we do have a little GAPS group. It's locals from our area, which has been really good, and together we've been able to support each other and buy in bulk and find different things and save lots of money. And yeah, it's been really, really good to be able to do that.
Yeah, and I think again, like you said, it's the support, having the support network. And Cathy often posts right from the start. You were posting your struggles or your successes,
Yes.
and I think that was really encouraging for other people starting to see how you worked through things. And just so interesting, like it's like a diary now for you. You can go back and read it all.
Yeah, it is. It's been and it's been, there's been ups and downs, so it's been quite therapeutic.
Mm.
And I've learned a lot about myself as well, and
Yeah.
how I handle things and let other people influence me and things like that.
Yeah.
So for example, letting other people determine success. So I'm just trying to think how to explain it. With Freya, her doctors are very fixated on her height.
Yes.
And so that seems to be, they don't seem to care about anything but something they can measure and whether or not she's growing. And, when you come out of an appointment with a specialist who says they're not growing as much as what they think they should and things like that, it's very easy to let someone else dictate what's important to you.
Yeah.
And lose sight of all the progress we've made, like
Yes,
the fact
exactly. That they can't see.
Yeah, the fact that we can see that she's communicating better, her skin is clearer, she's got more energy, she's more. Other people are able to understand her a lot better.
Okay.
She's coping. All these other things that they can't see in a clinical situation.
Yes,
and
it's sometimes hard to explain. They want measurable.
Yes.
Yeah, and as a mum, it's sometimes more, I don't know, instinctive or something.
Yeah.
Do you notice her schoolwork changing?
Yes. Yes.
That's one thing I really noticed with Isaac. Just
Yes.
being able to zoom ahead with school where he was just floundering before.
Well, she's got a lot more energy, which means that she can concentrate for longer and get through more work, which is really good.
Difference, yeah.
Yes, and her reading has just completely taken off, which is really,
awesome.
really good. Yeah, so that's
so good.
Yes.
And
so
do you feel a lot more confident now with what you've done? Like at first, it was a bit scary going against people's advice. Probably.
Yes, it was. It was a bit hard to start with, but yeah, I'm pretty. I suppose I sort of think we can all. My theory with food is, and as far as trying to do therapy with food, is we've got to eat anyway.
Yeah.
It's not like an extra thing to do.
Exactly.
So if we can get some wins through food, then
killing two birds with one stone.
That's right. We've got to do it anyway.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. And so many, people often get caught up with doing occupational therapy and physiotherapy and all these different other things, which, are all really, really great, but you've got to eat anyway.
Yeah, so you might as well work on that as well. That's
exactly right. So, yeah, we've found that really good.
And we know how important it is, don't we? We've
right.
experienced it. And I think, food can make such a big difference, whereas the other things, you sort of have to have a whole heap of things, obviously, that you're working on, not just food. But but when you see such big differences within a couple of weeks, food is a very big part of it.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, that's right. So,
I just am very encouraged by you guys. I think you've done amazingly well, and I know there's still a fair way ahead, but it's not as scary now, is it?
No, that's right.
Do you think when you get through the 2 years, you'll be adding in other things again, like, grains, and do you know?
There's certainly things that we want to be able to add in the future, but they're more things like nightshades. Like we can't have nightshades at the moment, and
so tomatoes are okay, but other nightshades not.
Well,
the heirloom tomatoes, you can get certain ones, can't you?
Yeah. We knew potato was always a problem, and now I think tomato is a bit of a problem as well. So we're more excited about adding those sorts of things back in. It's hard to imagine going back on to grains.
It is, isn't it? That's what I find.
Yes.
My kids are like, but can't we have spelt bread like once every now and then? I'm like, I don't know yet. We'll see.
That's right. That's right. Yes. It's hard. It is hard to know. It's hard to give definitive answers on that.
It really is. And I think I've sort of said to my kids, well, if we're traveling and we want to try a special local dish that has grains in it or something that we don't usually have, a little bit probably will be fine. But I don't want to get into the rut of what I've done so many times before is that big roller coaster thing of we're doing so well, start adding things in and go downhill again. And that's what I don't want to do.
Yeah. So I think long term it'll be more about if we go out and our choices are limited.
Yes.
Or if we get invited to a friend's place and our choices are limited.
And,
yeah, and things like that. Like, for example, today at work we have a staff lunch, and we usually cook a barbecue or something like that. Now, today it was funny. The team who was on cooking, they bought pizza.
Yeah.
Now they were so nice. They bought me a gluten-free pizza.
Oh dear.
Like they'd gone out of their way to buy me a gluten-free pizza so that I could participate. Because usually I don't eat because I can't eat anything. And they'd seen that I don't usually eat anything, and so they'd bought this gluten-free pizza for me.
Oh dear.
Which was so nice.
It was. It's very sweet.
So I think that's the sort of thing I'm looking
that's right.
forward to.
Same here.
Yeah. Being able to participate a bit more.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's very easy to make your own things and in advance what's going on.
That's right, and take them along.
Yeah. And that's something we've done for a long time with birthday parties.
Yes.
So the kids particularly, is the girls are used to taking their own food. So, that's because they've been gluten-free and dairy-free for a long time. They're used to taking their own food.
That wasn't a big shock to them.
No. So I think really when we talked about preparing for gaps, really we've probably spent about two years preparing.
Yeah, that's what I think with us too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the grains was a shock.
And the starches probably, because with gluten-free cooking there's so much starch.
Yes, the arrowroot.
And all the pastas and everything's so high sugars really when you look at it.
Yes.
So that's probably why they, like Freya did react so much, because she would have been having a lot of that starchy stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
Which we don't think, when you're thinking celiac, gluten-free, you think of that as, I'm eating healthy. And a lot of it you would have made from scratch yourself anyway.
Yes.
Because I know what you cook like. And it wouldn't have been the packets of really high sugar stuff. But I guess it's high enough to really get a reaction when you take it away. Yeah,
that's exactly right. So, it's been really interesting. So that's how sort of how I think the future will pan out.
Yeah.
And Freya loves the fact that she's teaching other people about food. So they've really taken ownership of it.
That's awesome.
Just this week, one of her friends at school apparently wants to have lunch like hers.
Aww.
So
that's so cute.
Yeah,
and that's what Isaac's found as well. Yeah, friends saying, I want that recipe. I really like that. So that's encouraging for them to see other friends even like their food. It must be good.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. And there's so many resources available too. So many fabulous recipe sites and things. Yep. So, there's no excuse for getting bored, that's for sure.
That's right. Well, maybe you could send me a couple of links to your favourite recipes and or sites, and we'll pop them on the bottom of the Wellness Couch article. And,
okay.
And if you think of anything else you want us to link to, just let me know, and we can maybe Freya's favourite recipes or something. She'd probably love that.
Yeah, well, she might have a recipe she would like to share of her own too.
That would be awesome. That would be really good.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing, because I think, like you said, if people know there's other people out there doing it and they've been through the hard yards and they've gotten through it, they can do it too. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, definitely. And it's so worth it.
Yes.
It's so worth it. And people often say, don't you think your kids are missing out? And I always say to them, well, my kids aren't. They're missing out, but they're missing out on tummy aches and brains that don't work and slurring and all those sorts of things. That's what they're missing out on by eating this way.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not missing out on food.
Yeah, it's people sometimes think you're being a bit mean, but actually you'd be being mean if you didn't do it.
Exactly.
For some kids. And we're not saying it's for everybody and every family, but when you really decide that you need to do it and you do it, you'll be amazed at the changes.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Cathy. And thank you, everyone, for listening. We hope you enjoyed it and you're finding it encouraging and helpful to listen to these podcasts. If you have someone you think that we should interview and you know some great stories about GAPS or gut healing, or just someone who's been able to really help their family changing their diet, send us a suggestion of who to interview. We'd love to interview some other people. And you can post your questions and comments on my Facebook page or on the website, thewellnesscouch.com/A Quirky Journey. And I'd love for you to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, and you can also check it out on the Wellness Couch. Check out the Wellness Couch, where you can view the entire range of wellness podcasts available. So keep working on those small changes, and we'll have more stories to share with you next week. Thank you so much, Cathy.
Thank you, Jo.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
This has been a production of TheWellnessCouch.com. Check us out on Facebook and join in the conversation on Facebook.com/The Wellness Couch. Subscribe to each show on iTunes and check us out on Twitter. The Wellness Couch, streaming wellness into your lives. Whilst the Wellness Couch presenter endeavor to provide accurate and helpful information to their listeners, these podcasts cannot take into account individual circumstances and are not intended to be a substitute for health and medical advice from a qualified health professional. You should always seek the advice of a qualified health professional before acting on any of the information provided by any of the Wellness Couch podcasts.